How was it navigating the industry, a quote unquote a sexist industry where it's male dominated and you're
because sometimes men, I ain't gonna lie, I've noticed, especially being I've been in real estate, and sometimes you talk to a man a certain way and they start cutting you off, and I had to pay attention like, oh, they're just not used to hearing it from a woman.
Right. Well, I think what you got to do is, as we know, we got to be twice as good. Mm-hmm. We got to know what we're talking about, as you know, sis. Right? We got to educate ourselves. When we say something, we know what we're saying. Mm-hmm. We mean what we say. We're about that business. And so we have to really, really go in there kind of double cocked, ready to shoot.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Dave, like,
my hairline is just holding up. You got to have real faith.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, that's the real lesson right there.
Seriously.
On this broken road, you got to be willing to build a street of you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Lessons Not Losses. Never take the L. I'm your co-host, Jessica Myers, with the amazing
Hakeem Herring, your real estate partner.
And we also have
Mr. Dre Parker, your money, legacy, and life coach. And today we have a very, very special guest. This is my sister. This is my friend. She's originally from Boston, Massachusetts, or should we say Dorchester, for those who are familiar with the area. She also practices law in two different areas of family and entertainment. She's been an attorney since 1992. So if you haven't heard of her before, today is your very first time meeting this wonderful person. She's a celebrity entertainment attorney, and this is my good friend, Mrs. Tanya Mitchell Graham.
Oh, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. But he said Mrs. I'm Ms.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Because
Get it right.
There might be somebody out there that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't be
I've been divorced 14 years. Come on.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
You ruining the chances.
I know. I don't want to look. Never take the L, right?
Never take the L.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, one thing I noticed when she came in, she looks amazing. Your smile brightened up the room.
Yes,
I love
indeed.
it.
Yes, indeed.
Thank
you.
So you brighten up so many situations. What is your persona in the courtroom?
Oh my God, the Pitbull in a Skirt.
Uh-oh.
I trademarked it. Everybody knows that. That's
Okay.
why they come. People say, I'm coming for the Pitbull.
Okay.
Yes,
And
indeed.
so I'm real kind of low key and down to earth outside of the courtroom, but I do get a little ferocious in there if necessary.
Oh, I can tell, because when he started going on the Rolodex off camera of some of your clients, I was like, oh, you can't play when you're dealing with them and some of the places that I'm sure you've been in.
Right.
Can you talk about some of the clients that you work with and what you've done and things like that?
Well, I normally don't name drop, but I would say that I could rattle off several that you would know right off.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that it's important and imperative to give them the type of attention and representation that they need, as well as all of my clients. You know, I treat everybody as a celebrity.
Yeah.
Oh,
in
yeah.
my
Right.
office.
Oh, I love it.
That's right.
I love it.
So if you work at UPS and you decide you're going to hire me to handle your divorce, you're a celebrity too.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question. You know, I've known you for a long time, and growing up the way you grew up, you know, what made you want to become an attorney?
For sure.
Oh my God. First of all, I lived in Dorchester, Massachusetts on Blue Hill Ave. The only attorney that I knew existed was a criminal defense attorney. Seriously.
Wow.
That's all I knew as far as attorneys. And I wasn't even pre-law in college. All I knew is when I was little is that college would be a way out of this particular situation.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't even know what I wanted to major in, what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, but I knew that education was the key to all of it. So I wanted to go to college. And so I ended up going to Vanderbilt University. And, you know, just based on being an African-American student at Vanderbilt University, that sparked some interest in justice. I'll say that.
Had some challenges?
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
In fact, my senior year, I was the president of what was then called the Black Student Alliance. And we led a protest against the administration, issued a manifesto that got national media attention.
Oh, wow.
And based upon that, there were several changes at Vanderbilt University. But in that process is when I decided instead of going to business school, I would go to law school.
Oh, man.
Wow. Wow.
You've always been a change agent and change maker.
I think you're born with that that gift, and so it definitely runs in the family. And so it wasn't about just how can I make Vanderbilt better while I'm here, because again I was a senior, but how can we make it better for African American students that come behind us? And then when you do that, you actually make it better for the entire university community. And so that was the point. But it was tough, because those second and third interviews that I had with Fortune 500 companies, they began to dissipate. Because I mean, we were in the USA Today, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, even the Muhammad Speaks.
Wow.
So we were, our protests really did get national media attention. And so as I was interviewing, the interviews, just the second and third interviews just became less and less. And I said, I'll tell you what, then I'll just go to law school. And I decided like on May 1st and graduated May 8th.
Wow. Wow.
What was your path in becoming a celebrity attorney and climbing that ladder, or if there is a ladder in the
Well, yes. Well, for myself, I didn't have any connections like some people I know. They have like maybe a famous brother or a songwriter or somebody that they know. So it was nothing like that. So really, I went to Georgia State University College of Law.
Oh, fellow Panther.
Hello.
Yeah.
I love
Hello.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
All right. So I went to Georgia State University and College of Law. And my first year, I saw, and keep in mind, this was 1988. So
Oh, okay.
this was 1988.
All right.
And I saw that they had a class called Entertainment Law.
Okay.
And I was like, ooh, what's that? Now, of course, I couldn't take it because I was what you call a 1L, first year law student. And as it turns out, they never offered the class at a time when I could take it, ever. Ever.
Wow.
Ever. So, but that sparked an interest because, I ran track, I liked sports, and then also I used to DJ in high school and college.
Oh, no.
You're right.
No.
I'll
Cinderella. You know what
Oh my
I'm saying?
God, right? Lady
Party
T.
starter.
Yeah, Lady T. So, so when I saw entertainment law, I naturally was interested, and I never could take the class, but I heard over at Emory University, over at their law school, they had all sorts of classes and books. We had to read books then. There was no audio book. So I had to actually go to their law school, their law library, and they had a whole entertainment law section of books and treatises and things. And so I just ran and read everything I could. I joined the American Bar Association entertainment section as a student. And I just began to self-teach myself. And as it turns out, I took the bar in July of 1991, which was actually before I graduated. But Atlanta at that time, you had LaFace Records.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had Rowdy Records, Silent Partner Productions. You had all these So Def.
Yeah,
of course.
You had all these things. So this was a beautiful time to pursue entertainment law.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And so when I graduated from law school, I just wanted to do entertainment law so badly. And I couldn't really, the only big firm was one I won't name that did entertainment law and basically represented everybody.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get over there. So I found a gentleman who would let me work for his office and do whatever entertainment law was because he didn't know. And so, but he did family law. And I never took a family law course either, by the way.
Wow. So you like Goodwill Hunting with the law. You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't know.
self-taught.
Just,
Following the spirit,
just
following the
God
path, yeah.
So he, I did family law and went to court for him, and he allowed me to do entertainment law, which at that time was basically reviewing, drafting, and negotiating contracts. And so with Atlanta, there was no shortage of unsigned artists, right? So my first year as an attorney, I had like 17 artists unsigned, no money. They had no money. I had no experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had no experience. They had no money, but I had plenty of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And I was self-taught. And so what would happen is I would represent them on various contracts. Sometimes there was money at the end of the deal. Sometimes there wasn't. But I kept learning in each situation.
Yeah.
And then I ended up representing a label called actually Rockefeller, not
Not
Roc-
the
Rock.
not
Yeah,
the-
okay.
but they had like Splack Pack and Kid Money. And
Y'all don't know about
What's
that.
that? Those
Oh,
are
that's-
rappers? Those are rappers?
Oh my God, man! Scrub the ground.
See that? Okay, that's okay. That's old Atlanta.
It's old Atlanta.
I've been practicing.
Yeah, that's okay.
So
I know the song. I just
yeah. So well, that was the name of the label, gentleman out of Detroit. And the way I ended up hooking up with him is I actually negotiated a deal for a female group on his label. So I represented the artist, got them signed to his label. A year later, he got rid of the artist and came and hired me.
Wow.
Now I'm getting paid.
Now you're getting paid.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so he was paying me a monthly retainer, handling all the business. And from representing that independent label, that led to another one and another one. And producers and money
I love
coming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, doing entertainment law. So much so that the gentleman I was working for, at first he was letting me keep all that money. Then he's like, no.
had to sit down and have a talk.
No, I'm going to get 65 and you're going to get 35.
Yeah.
Okay. I went for it, though.
You went for Yeah,
it was his office.
Yeah.
He was paying all the bills. So actually it wasn't a bad deal.
Yeah.
How tough is it being a female, coming up as a female attorney, and especially black female attorney in this industry?
It was hard. And I think it's probably still hard, probably not as hard as it was then. Yeah. But you had, Sylvia Rome was in the game then too. So, you did have some very major black women already involved in the music industry, but most of them were primarily in New York or Los Angeles. So it was difficult at first, especially not having any contacts. Yeah. And so back then they had a place called Diamonds and Pearls where all the industry people would come and see new talent on Thursday night. So no matter what, if I had court Friday morning, I was still at Diamonds and Pearls on Thursday night. Wow. And so you got to meet a lot of artists. I was giving out my card to everybody. Every no got me closer to a yes is what I felt like. And so I just continued to meet people, meet artists, meet executives. And some of the people I met back then, I still know today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's just important to, if there's not a path, make your own.
It's incredible because just listening to your story, it's the story of like an entrepreneur, like being on the path out there, marketing, networking, carving your own lane and not, taking no for an answer.
That's right.
As an attorney, it kind of aligns with the fact that you are building your business.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if, at the time I was working for a firm, but you still need to build your own practice.
Yeah.
Have your own clientele. Have people call on the phone asking for you directly, not who you work for.
Right.
And so that's what, that's what I did. And I stayed with that initial firm for 3 years. And then I started a firm with a lady I went to law school with, Mitchell Graham and Stroud. We did that from like 94 to 99. And then she ended up becoming a judge, starting off, with a municipality and then just moving on up to Superior Court judge. So we still keep in contact too. And then after that, I started the current firm I have, which is the law office of Tanya Mitchell Graham, PC. We call it TMG PC. I started this one in 1999. Wow.
Yes, that's when I met you.
Yeah. That's when I met Dre. Yeah, he was working at Nextel.
Got to drop that one on you. Yeah.
With the radios and everything.
I know.
How has the industry changed? Because you've been in this business for a long time. How have you seen those changes? Man.
Well, I mean, when I was a new attorney, an artist could get a deal with a good headshot, 3 songs on a tape, and a bio, and somebody, banging on the door for you. And you could get, some, 6 figures up front. And sometimes they do a development deal. Sometimes they sign you directly and you rocking and rolling.
Right.
Now, first of all, we were doing cassette tapes.
Yeah.
All right. At that moment. Then, of course, it moved to CDs. And I would say around 2000 when Napster came and was sharing all the music, CDs died. I mean, when the last time you bought a CD?
Yeah.
So that was a major change because it was like, well, how do you get money if you're not selling physical records now or physical albums or CDs? So that really was difficult. And I think a lot of labels began to consolidate and had to figure out really how to monetize music. And so it got more about streams and licensing and the birth of the infamous 360 deal. So when an artist gets a record deal now, it's not just money from streams.
Yeah.
You know, it's the ancillaries, and depending on what you negotiate. So if they do something on TV or YouTube, or if they're an influencer, all of that is part of the deal, unless they negotiate some other things. But an artist nowadays has to really kind of become like have a fan base before major labels even going to want to get involved with you. You know, so you've got to really go out here and hustle. I used to tell Andre, because we actually had a label together called Power Source
Entertainment. Yeah.
And so Andre, I met him through his aunt. His aunt had a 4-year-old when I had a 4-year-old who went to ballet together.
Dre was in ballet?
No.
I know you got the moves. Yeah, I know you had some moves, you know? Listen,
you know what I'm saying? I was a guy I might have dated ballerinas, you know what I'm saying?
No, but that's how I met Dre. His aunt and I became best friends because the kids were best friends, you know? And I found out Dre has a younger brother who is an amazing singer and talent. And so we decided to put the family business together.
That's right.
Put all the resources behind this young man.
Oh yeah. No, she was tough now. Don't let the smile fool you.
Okay.
I was like, I think I want to be a producer. She was like, nah, we're gonna get so and so to produce the record. I said, well, I'm gonna figure out how to produce. I know. I ain't know what I was doing.
We went on and sent him to school.
Yeah.
On how to be a producer.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he tells you. I know he's all the money man now, but he has many talents.
Yeah.
And he has many certifications,
including
one as a music producer.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Wow. Salute.
Yeah. This is the ill genius, by the way.
I knew that was coming.
The L Genius?
The Ill Genius.
The Ill Genius?
Yeah.
We all had our little acronyms. I was the professor, D.A., and professor with an A at the end. So, we all had our little names. We would go on the road, and we had artists that were getting airplay and stuff like that.
Man.
We were doing all right.
Dre, you never told us this story. You going on the road? You doing shows?
Yeah.
Shows.
Oh my goodness.
God. He would double ask my body.
What was it?
I was a lot bigger than not muscular, but a lot fatter.
Yeah. Well, bodyguard nonetheless.
Right.
Ain't nobody mess with her.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, you can imagine how the industry is, right?
Yes.
Very difficult.
Very sexist. Sometimes.
Yeah, very sexist.
Yeah. How was it navigating the industry, a quote unquote a sexist industry where it's male dominated and you're
because sometimes I ain't gonna lie, I've noticed, especially being I've been in real estate, and sometimes you talk to a man a certain way and they start cutting you off, and I had to pay attention like, they're just not used to hearing it from a woman.
Right. Well, I think what you got to do is, as we know, we got to be twice as good. We got to know what we're talking about, as you know, sis. Right? We got to educate ourselves. When we say something, we know what we're saying. We mean what we say. We're about that business. And so we have to really, really go in there kind of double cocked, ready to shoot. Because it's important that we know what we're talking about and we're very good at it. And sometimes that means that even after you've done all the work, you do some additional preparation and additional things. So if you have a big meeting, or if you have an artist that's about to showcase or something like that, you just got to put the work in. There is no substitute for the hard work.
A lot of times you hear people always say, I want to be a celebrity. Like I'm in real estate. They want to be a celebrity real estate broker. They want to be a celebrity attorney. Like, what does it take to get to that level? And how do you set yourself apart from other attorneys to really offer your client that service to say, okay, I got to go look for her?
That's a very good question. I get asked that all the time because people do seek me out specifically. And so I started off, I guess the first celebrity I had was actually a Major League Baseball player back in 1996. And that was, even though I had been representing artists, kind of smaller, some producers, some record labels, this guy at the time was the highest paid player in MLB at the time. And so getting that, and then he was in another state and came and got me. And so I had, I guess, already built a reputation for the hard work and the dedication. And, we know bad news travels, but good news travels too.
Yeah.
And, referrals is how I do business. I have not advertised since 2001. And so it's all strictly referrals. But I think that it's just important and imperative to, if you're representing a celebrity, please know this is not 9 to 5 and it's not Monday through Friday. And so a lot of times when they want to call you up, they might be on the West Coast.
Yeah.
It might just be 8 o'clock for them. It's 11 for you, or it might be 10 o'clock. And so it's 1 for you. So you have to make yourself accessible.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, you already gotta know your stuff, and you've got to learn their industry. You have to speak their language. If my client's calling me up complaining about, man, I was in the studio, I was trying to get them to do split sheets, nobody would do it. I gotta know what he's saying.
Yeah.
I gotta know what he's talking about. So you've got to speak the lingo, and you've got to kind of spend some time with these people. Like at this point in my career, I don't. But when I was a younger attorney, I was at every event, every event, meeting people, re-meeting people, making sure that people know me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I meet people and they don't really recognize me or know me at the time, but then later on, I might have represented somebody that they know, and they say, hey, who's that attorney you had? Yeah. And then they'll say, oh, I met you before,
Yeah.
So it's just important to be consistent in the type of work that you do. There's just no substitution for that. Yeah. And also, I would say you have to be personable. Now, some of this is personality. It's just God-given.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have the gift of gab. Yeah. Everybody can't look people in the eye. So if you're like some things, you might just want to be a transactional attorney if you're real kind of shy and don't want to look people in the eye.
But I feel like it comes from the confidence in you. And like you said, you've always been that standout person, even in college. So the stronger and confident you are in yourself, I can see me in you and I can look at you. Because oftentimes when people are shy and they can't do that, it starts with that inner conversation.
Right. And so you have to be just personable, a people person.
Right.
You're going to get along well with people and continue to meet people and grow and have the desire to do so. Kind of put yourself out there, because nowadays, now you've got to have your social media presence, which is important. I don't advertise, but I do have, social media. Right. I put up a post last year. I said, oh, this would be good to talk about, I mostly represent men, by the way. But let me go back to the TikTok, and then I'll tell you why. I said, I'm seeing a lot of women lose custody, and they're not unfit. They're not unfit. They are perfectly fine parents. I said, I want to talk about that on TikTok. I did a 1-minute video, and it got like 500,000 views. And I was just talking about how sometimes women lose custody because they don't want to let the dad see the kid. Yeah. So
you're trying to play games.
Yeah, well, that's a whole episode.
Right.
I can do that one. Yeah. That's a whole episode.
Well, can we peel into one of those, like one of the lessons that you've learned from even your client?
From which client?
And you don't have to name the name of the client, but just a situation that happened or a major lesson that, you came in and you were able to help.
Help or not help.
Okay.
Because I don't always win.
Right. So let's talk about your first L or lesson.
Yeah.
Ooh, the first one?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You see the emotions?
It's still haunting.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mostly represent men, and that's because doing entertainment law, most of my clients were men. I really want to help fathers just personally. And so I'm working with Wes. That was my first boss, and I'm doing a lot of family law for men. And so I had a case with a guy, and at the time, parenting plans weren't even called that, but his visitation schedule was every other weekend, right? He had gotten mixed up on the weekends, which is a poor way to draft it. I didn't draft it, but I came in trying to help. Because he got mixed up, there was a lot of things going on with that. He was African. He was Nigerian specifically. His wife was Caucasian. We were in a certain county.
Yeah.
I won't even say.
Right.
But we were in a certain county. And as soon as the judge saw him and saw his wife, my guy we went to court trying to get his visitation back. How come he ends up going to jail?
Wow.
Right?
For contempt. The judge found, listen.
Wow.
Yeah. This has been like 27 years. I still don't know what he was in contempt for.
Yeah.
But he ended up going to jail because the judge, we figured out during the case that he was showing up on the wrong weekend. right? And listen, we had to serve the mother in jail with this particular action. He wanted custody. And we were trying to show how she was refusing. And then when she was in jail, she didn't let him know, had the kids with somebody else. So we were able to get the kids on a temporary basis. And at the end, she's like, I want my kids back. I still don't know how my man ended up in jail, but that was devastating for me, right? Because I didn't understand what happened. Everything in law is not just what's in the code section and what's in the case law. I'll say that. You have to know a little bit about your judges and their temperament because their experiences, they bring that to the bench.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say that I didn't understand who the judge was. Like I had cases with the judge, but I didn't know who the judge was.
Wow.
I do researches on my judges now. And so, yeah, my guy went to jail. And I still don't know why.
But the lesson is now you research judges.
Well, there's a lot of lessons from that. But when he got out, I'm like, okay, I've done some research and we could do this and we could do that. He's like, no, I'm hiring somebody else.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
not only did my client go to jail, but I got fired. And it was the first time I got fired, right?
Yeah.
And so that's pretty devastating. So it felt like a big, huge loss at the time. But the lessons that I got, number one, research your judges.
Yeah.
Number two, don't do a every other weekend parenting plan.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's straight.
Yeah.
There's so much I learned about how to put together, visitation agreements from that situation. I've never had a client go to jail because of that anyway. And it just changed my whole practice.
Well, it seemed like he had a whole lesson in itself he needed to learn in the sense that he couldn't get his weekends right. So, I mean, it seemed like, and he couldn't get his attorney right. So he needed to sit down anyway.
Right, no, I'm telling you, it was very confusing because I was like loud and wrong in the courtroom about the dates.
Yeah.
Loud
and wrong. Being loud and wrong is bad.
Yeah.
So
I've been there.
I've been there too.
I stood 10 toes down. I'm like, ooh.
yeah, I mean, some of us have really emphatically said something and we've been wrong. And so it really did change my practice. That was a major loss early enough for me to make some changes.
What about on the entertainment side? Because that's the family law side.
Yes.
On the entertainment side, I know you had some battles,
I have had some battles, and I'll tell you one in particular that had to do with a distribution agreement. So I had a label I was working for, and at the time we were doing distribution with another company that had major distribution. And this is before we were electronically signing, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And so we negotiate, the oh my God, it might have been 75 pages, single space. It was crazy. Crazy deal. We're so excited. We got it all done. They send the contracts. We're kind of like toasting it up while we're signing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trying to take pictures.
Toast it up.
So
sure.
we up here having a good time. We sign the contracts, we send it back. We get ready to put out the first record.
I think I remember this.
You do. The distributor changed from being affiliated with a major to somebody I never heard of. They changed it in the paperwork.
I remember.
Of course, they didn't say anything to us, and we signed it. And so
it could have been a strong possibility that I wouldn't have been on this podcast
I was about
today,
to say, it sounded like it was
my life could have changed back then.
You know what I mean?
Oh, we got some losses to talk about and lessons.
Yeah. So the lesson that I learned then was don't trust lawyers, and I am a lawyer.
Wow.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
Oh.
We can't let that one slide.
Because I would think attorney, you safe, put it in their hands, but you saying don't trust them.
Don't. I'm real serious.
So what should we do?
Well, you got to read everything. Okay.
Yourself.
When you're the client.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're the client, you got to read it because, we can go over it and I may have sent it to you. So now we're electronically signing everything. So now you got to sit through, and people will rush you a lot of times and say, well, just go on. This is the same thing. and they'll send you a DocuSign that's different than what we've been looking at. I had that happen in the mediation a couple of years ago, where we went through and painstakingly drew out all the information and sent it back and forth. We said, cool. And then the mediator sent like the penultimate draft, the one before that one. So you got to read everything, even when there's pressure.
Yeah.
You know, you really do, because you're bound by the four corners of that document. And so, I mean, you know that with, you know,
Real
what you
estate.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah, trust you me, I've learned to go
Yeah.
back and read the red tape, the
Yeah.
fine print, and what you didn't say.
Yeah.
Because it is so interesting, because I like to be flexible at first, and that's what's gotten me into a lot of deals. But
Yeah.
then it's that exit part
Right,
that
right.
you just like, ooh, I can get into some stuff, but can I get out of it?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's real easy to get into some
It's-
stuff.
yeah.
Although people think, oh my God, it was so hard to get this deal. If you think that's hard, try getting out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
If you thought it was hard getting in,
Yeah, try to get it out. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So try getting out. So yeah, it's just important to kind of read every line by, even if you've already read it. And so people will get frustrated. And you know, I was just talking to a potential client just yesterday about him wanting to come over to me, but he already signed something. And I'm like, well, did you read it?
Oh, wow.
My lawyer read it, but then when I looked at it, it's not what my lawyer said it was. So I don't trust lawyers.
So a question that we love to ask all of our guests here at Lessons Not Losses: what is literally, if you had to start all over again and rebuild from the ground up, what is a pivotal lesson you would rebuild with?
Okay, like start from scratch with
Yes.
nothing.
Yeah, like if you, because
Like
you
the
mentioned
hurricane come and take everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm down to nothing.
Yes.
Relationships.
Relationships.
Absolutely. I could build everything I got. I could build it again. And I'm very confident in that because of the relationships that I've made and maintained.
Yeah.
Not just made, but maintained over the years. Keep that same tenacity and work ethic, and that will take you a long way. And then a lot of times people are always so concerned about who do you know, but sometimes it's important to know, how do these people know you? What do
Yeah.
they know about you?
Yeah.
What will they say about you? Will they refer you to someone else? And so that's important. So I could build
Yeah.
based on that, because the track record is there. Even if all the other physical stuff is gone, track record's there. Person's still here. The faculties are still here. Right. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
And so we can build. I can rebuild instantly.
It's like you take you out of that situation. It's like who you are is who you are anywhere. It's who you are everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you'll rebuild
exactly.
again.
Yeah.
And you know, like you say, lessons not losses. There are so many lessons that, you know, losses build character. You know,
Talk to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, because if you're winning all the time, you might start feeling yourself a little more than you need to. And sometimes you need to get kind of smacked down so that you can know that, wait a minute, I got to continue to do things in a certain manner, still have that level of excellence that I had before.
Yeah.
And if all you do is win, you feel like you can just wing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, you've got to put in that work still. And so lessons are character building and important. And so I learn more from the lessons than I do from the wins.
Yeah.
The losses,
The
I
losses,
learn
yeah.
I learn more from the losses
Yeah.
than I do the wins.
Yeah. Man, that's powerful. That's the first time I've heard someone say, hey, you need to lose.
You need
to
to.
get
have
smacked
to.
down a
You
little
have
bit.
to.
sometimes.
And
Right.
there is no, you know, back when I was a younger attorney, I would look up to certain attorneys. I'm like, oh, they never lose a case? No, they do lose.
Yeah.
You're right.
Sometimes they lose big.
Yeah.
But it's that big loss helped them to catapult to so
Yeah.
many additional
Yeah.
wins after that,
Okay.
because that lesson will transcend more than one situation.
It's like Fantasia says, sometimes you got to lose to win again.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
I like that.
That's
Yeah.
science.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
science.
You
I
know?
wish I had known that before, because I feel like my business coach, he told me, he was like, your loss actually probably exaggerated and amplified ways that you may have been already losing, but you recovered in wins.
Right.
And you didn't see it.
Right.
And so I
Right.
didn't need to keep winning at that level because it wouldn't have sustained to where I was going. So that, like you said, I never heard it
I
put
think
like
that's
that.
important.
Yeah.
No matter how long you've been doing something, it's still important. You know, I hate losses. I hate them with a passion.
Yeah.
I do. But they're still very important even to this day.
Yeah. Losses are an important key to success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the character and the integrity
Yeah.
is built in that loss.
For sure.
Because that's literally how you never take the L. You
Right.
don't accept it because you turn it into
Right.
something that's going to empower you and springboard you even greater.
Right. And you just take all of that and build upon it and use that loss to build upon the next win and the next win and the next win.
So if you get the lesson, you never take the L.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
How can
having
people
me.
find out and keep in contact with you and find out more information?
Okay, well, again, the name of the firm is the Law Office of Tanya Mitchell Graham, PC. You can follow me on every social media platform at TMGESQ. And I do mean every social media platform. I'm on all of them, and that's actually a big source of clients right now. Social media. Thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I'm not gonna call anyone out. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. We know who it is.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, even on every social media platform. So I don't advertise right now. I just get out here, do what I do in the courtroom. People look for the Pitbull in the skirt.
Yeah.
The Pitbull is there. I'm primarily representing a lot of entertainers and professional athletes. It's amazing. I still do entertainment law. I made a shift, when my children were going to high school, because entertainment will have you traveling quite a bit. Of course, they're out now, but I made a shift, and now I'm kind of rooted in pretty deeply with representing primarily professional athletes and entertainers in their family law matters.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And she works hard, y'all. I've known her for 25 years, and Saturdays, Sundays.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Monday through Sunday job.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and
That's
that's
what it
like
takes.
I said,
That's what it
9 to 5
takes.
to have
Yeah.
It's not
24-hour
it's
access.
not 9 to 5, but you got to really want to do it. It's not made for everybody. It's not for the faint-hearted or the feeble-minded
Right.
or the person that wants to get rich quickly
Yeah.
and doesn't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I definitely learned. You learned me something. As
That's
my
all
grandma
right.
learned me something today.
And then the next lesson after all that hard work, you got to play hard too.
Ooh.
That's right. Ooh.
Play hard. I play
yes.
hard.
Yes, she does.
There you go.
Play hard.
I'm like, you're the DJ. Of course, you're the life of the party.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got to
Well,
turn it
no,
up.
that's work.
Yeah.
Hi.
But I have to
That play hard.
I got to get on the plane and go somewhere and do and
And enjoy it. Yes.
I'm not an attorney anywhere but in Georgia.
I love it.
I hear you.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Lessons Not Losses. Never take the L. I've been your co-host, Jessica Myers, with the amazing.
Hakeem Herring.
And
your guy, Dre Parker.
And thank you so much, Tanya, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been amazing. As always, you got it. Let's get it.
Let's
go.
Oh.
On this broken road, you gotta be willing to build a street of gold. Don't you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss? Standing under the pressure, you can fold. Gotta go with your gut when lose or draw. Don't you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss? A loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss.
Yeah, we learning lessons over here.
Let's go.
We apply pressure when life hits, we never quit. We double down on our effort and then we triple it. From boardrooms to courtrooms to boss blooms, we blow away adversity like a monsoon. So get up, march on, yo, you gotta choose. To stay stuck or keep going, cause even winners lose. Sacrifice is the price paid to bear your cross. Learn your lessons in life so you won't take the loss.
On this broken road, you gotta be willing to build a street of gold. Don't you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss? Standing under the pressure, you can fold. Gotta go with your gut when lose or draw. Don't you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss? A loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss. A loss ain't nothing but a lesson.